Okay, this week in Year 6 we've been looking at the equivalence between fractions, decimals and percentages, and we've been using the magnetic resources to help us out. So here we've got one whole, and we can see that that is the same as 1.0, which is also equivalent to 100%. And the children can physically put these one on top of the other to see that. Next we've got a half, and the children can see that a half is the same as 0.5, which is also equivalent to 50%. The next bit of information they've got to try and remember is that 1/4 is equivalent to 0.25, and they can see that by matching them up, which is also the same as 25%. Now, if children can remember the relationship between the fraction and the decimal, they can find it quite easily. They can find it quite easy to work out the percentage as well. The next one that they need to try and remember, which is really helpful if they can just have that memorised, is 1/10. Okay, and 1/10 is equivalent to 0.1. They match up really nicely, which is the same as 10%. The extra one that I've got here to show you, which if they can memorise it is helpful, if not it doesn't matter, is 1/5. Okay, now 1/5 is 2 1/10, which is the same as 0.2, which is equivalent to 20%. So we're going to have a go at using that information to help us solve a problem. And the problem is this one. Move those out of the way a moment. We're trying to match fractions, decimals and percentages. So the first one we've got is 0.5, and 0.5, hopefully using the knowledge that we've retained, is equivalent to 50%. So we can draw a line from 0.5 to 50%. Next up we've got 10%. Now the children should remember that 10% is 0.1 or 1/10, okay, and we can match that up. So then we can draw a line connecting 10% to 1/10. 0.2, this is the one that they might find hard to memorise, to remember, but 0.2 is the same as 20%. Okay, and this is easy using physical apparatus, but this is something they're going to need to remember and memorise ready for the test. Which leaves us with 0.25. This is the one that I said they had to try and memorise, being equivalent to 1/4. And they can use that knowledge to help them solve this fairly straightforward matching puzzle. Okay. Now this type of puzzle might be presented in a slightly more challenging way, and we're going to have a look at this problem next, and see how the level of challenge increases slightly for this one. Let me bring you a bit closer so you can see. So here we've got to match up. We've got 0.25, 0.4, 0.2, 2/10, 1/4 and 2/5. Okay. 3/4 and 0.75 has been matched up already. Remembering that 3/4 is 0.75 is another one that's really, really helpful for the children to try and remember. Hopefully they've retained that knowledge that 0.25 is the same as 1/4. Let me put those in short. 0.25 is the same as 1/4. So what we can do with that is match that one up. So now that just leaves us with 2/10 and 2/5. Okay. Now I'm going to find 2/10 to begin with, and if we put those together, we can see that that is equivalent to 2 0.1s. Now 0.1 and 0.1 makes 0.2. You can actually see that that also fits nicely over the top. So when we've calculated that, we can match up 2/10 to 0.2, which just leaves us with 0.4 and 2/5. And I can just prove to you that that is 0.4, because here are 2/5, and over the top of that I can put 2 0.2s. 0.2, add 0.2, 0.4. Finally, the problem below that is a problem where the children need to order a mixture of fractions and decimal numbers. So we've got 0.6, 3/10, 0.2, 9/10. Now to help them out with this one, it's really helpful if the children convert them all to either fractions or decimals. So I'm going to use a different shape card now. I'm going to use these rectangular ones. The children hopefully can see from this model that 1/10, 3/10 is equivalent to 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So if I change that on the sheet to 0.3, or write it above it to remind me, and then I can do the same with 9/10. So I'm going to make the 9/10 first of all. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can see that is equivalent to 0.9. Adding those on, trying to get them the right way up. And now, having built that visual model for the children to see, having added those on, I'll write that one a little bit neater because it's a little bit hard for you guys to see. I can now order those, and I can see that actually 0.2 is the smallest, so I'm going to record that as the smallest as it says here, cross that off. 0.3 is the next smallest, so I'm going to write that as 3/10, just to show off my understanding. Then I've got 0.6, cross that one off, which means 9/10 is the largest number in that order there.